Okay. Let's call the workshop to order, and I believe the splash pad's first on my agenda, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so I don't know, I just kind of wanted to, Chris and I had talked about kind of bringing up to the council kind of what's been going on with the splash pad committee. We kind of took it on as just an idea and kind of ran with it relatively quickly, I guess. And there's been a lot of ideas thrown out there, and I want to get the council's kind of ideas and possibly approval to proceed, or kind of get some guidelines of kind of what you guys are looking for. If we get this thing built and turning it over to the city, what the parameters and what you guys expect from us, and just kind of trying to get a plan together. So Andy, Glenn are both on with Jim, David Back, Ryan, Sarah, myself, and Ashley Kuntz have kind of just started it. But we're kind of at the point where either we want to get some traction, keep moving forward, because we have a possible vote on the 23rd, or we're having a vote with Trinity on the 23rd to approve purchase of their land. So we just kind of want to get some ideas and see what the council's thought is, and I don't know, Chris, have you talked to them at all about it?
No, I really haven't. So this is this is everybody's opportunity to ask questions and discuss the hearsay that's out on the street, basically.
Right. So in front of you are some basic designs that we've kind of put together with one of the companies that we've been working with on just a free consultation. And then the other one is a map of the Trinity property to get an idea kind of how it would lay in there. And the red line all the way around the property is the actual property itself, right? Minus the setbacks, is that correct? Mm-hmm. The only thing that's different is we want to take that north boundary south about 10 feet, so it would be basically 90 by 197. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. That's the only thing that's really changed off the original map, just because they want a little bit bigger area, be able to pile their snow and stuff like that. But we brought it to them as an idea, which is what, sometime in summer?
Originally?
Yeah, I guess originally, yeah. And then we went in front of their congregation and spoke and kind of answered questions, and then it got brought to the council, and now they're gonna bring it to a vote, which it sounds like there's very good possibility that's gonna go through. And at that point, the real work begins as far as fundraising and getting everything set up to ready to go. We really can't do anything right now, just based on, we don't have any land. It's pretty hard to tell somebody to donate when you don't have anything to physically see. So I guess I'll open the floor for questions and ideas and.
To be clear, just to make sure I understand this, get this out on the record. The understanding is, provided the land piece goes through, the plan of the commission, of the splash pad committee, is that the fundraising would be done, purchase the land, to make this happen.
Yep.
And at that, until the point it's handed back to the city, we're not asking for anything from the city.
Correct.
I think that's a pretty key point.
Yeah, so the plan is basically do all fundraising ourselves, everything general it ourselves, and basically turn it over to the city at the end of the project, more of the liability standpoint, correct? Actually, I talked to Chris, as far as the insurance side of things, we could never carry, maybe that we'd have to fundraise, probably fundraise just as much for the insurance than we'd have to fundraise for the actual splash pad itself. Total project cost, we're looking at roughly $450,000 to $500,000. So it's a good chunk of change. I mean, but I think it's doable with just, a little bit of traction. I put a post on Facebook and my phone blew up with people trying to hand me checks, and I'm like, no, I was just asking if it was a good idea or not. So I think it has some good traction as far as using local banks to run the fundraising through and all that kind of stuff. That's what we're going to try and keep it as everything in town as we can. And then using local contractors that want to donate funds, that want to donate work. There's just so much stuff, a lot of moving pieces to go through, but the main thing is to be able to come to you guys and say, hey, can we get your approval? Will you accept our donation? If we get this thing done on this piece of property with something similar to this, and obviously with Glenn and Andy both being on the committee, you guys would have a voice in everything that we're doing. And that was kind of our goal with getting it through to them. But just looking at making sure that we go through all the work to get it done, that make sure that that's something the city's on board with.
The other component that's not shown, that's probably, well, there's
Yep.
obviously a requirement for Trinity, but it's also gonna be one of the bigger maintenance issues once it's turned over, is there will be restrooms on site, seasonal restrooms. More than likely seasonal. I don't think we'll wanna go through I would assume we'll clean them out and shut them down,
for the winter. Yep.
blow out the sprinklers or whatever.
And I'm guessing with the splash pad, you would have to winterize it anyways.
Correct.
So we would come in and winterize the bathrooms also.
But what we're probably talking about there as well is we'd have them, so the splash pad will only have certain hours of operation and then it won't be active. We'll have, probably look at magnetic locks that actually shut down the bathrooms at a
It's
certain
only
point
open
as
from
well.
10 a.m. until 8 p.m. in the peak
Right.
summer season. And then September 1st, or I'm guessing is gonna be kind of whenever the pool shuts down, basically, will be our hard deadline. Now, the goal is to have a park with there too, so obviously it's still gonna be useful, so the bathrooms we might keep open
Right.
until Thanksgiving or whatever the weather
Well,
permits.
let's not put any commitments on the dates or
Right,
times
right,
on
right.
that. I'll be
Every year's a little different.
going through everything we did this last year, we'll just take it how it comes. But I was not aware of the playground equipment, which is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, that's kind of
So
the,
I'm super excited to see that you are proposing that.
in the playground. I don't know if anybody's been to,
Like Valentine and Mankato.
yeah, like Valentine Park in Mankato by Caswell. You know, it's a, what do they call that? A zero.
Well, it's 100% accessible and it's board in place rubber.
Okay.
So any kid with any abilities can,
Wheelchairs.
wheelchairs,
yeah.
anything can play. Instead of like the mulch, which can be really hard for some kids to get through.
So is
And for
Game,
younger kids.
is Game Time working with you? I know they have a lot of grants, and if you're going in as a nonprofit, are
Yep,
they
so-
willing to work with you on that?
Yep, so CRS, Commercial Recreation Specialists, and Game Time, those are the two we've been talking to. And both of them have grants available.
Okay,
and
good.
We're gonna go really hard as soon as we have a place and approval to get some of those grants.
Okay.
So then the only other, the one question that comes up from the city side, that's zoned, residential, commercial, what do we have to do to give them the correct paperwork so they can build on that if they get that?
I think
Will
there's
that
an
require a
R1
public
zone.
hearing?
We talked about that right away. I think it was an R1 zoning.
And in R1 zoning,
I mean, it's been a parking lot and a
What about a park?
baseball diamond ever since I
Right.
can remember.
would allow a park,
Right.
so there isn't much that you actually have to do. Unless you feel the need that you would need to come to the planning and zoning, committee for an approval. But there is no variance or anything that we have to do on that,
Technically speaking, there's already a park there, correct?
technically.
Because there's a ball diamond
It hasn't
and,
been used in forever, but it's there.
it's there.
But that property is exempt at this point because there's church there. So it's a church property,
Okay.
but it's in an R1, it's,
But because it's church, it's already been exempt for a year. Okay.
And we're not asking for, like I said, even, you know, talking about getting water and sewer, and there's a lot of other moving pieces to this puzzle that are gonna come along the way. But I guess our biggest thing now is opening it up for discussion and questions and just kind of trying to get a natural feel and, like I said, kind of get, some sort of a blessing, so to speak, if that's something that the city would be interested in taking on, you know, at what cost. You know, we've ran cost analysis as far as like, you know, we've been working with like New Ulm, Mapleton.
Well, Mapleton, Worthington, Jackson.
And what's the splash pad cost those towns to,
Well,
A
it depends on the
ballpark.
type of splash pad, so a lot of, well, I should say Mapleton, Jackson, and Worthington, they spent like $350 to $500 just for the splash pad, no park. because they did the recirculating, where it recirculates the water, but the chemicals and everything cost a lot to do that. Whereas New Ulm, their splash pad alone was $135,000, and they just do fresh water going through.
And we talked kind of about that, even to the companies, and they really are pushing, this, the technology isn't quite there for the chemical side of things for recycling the water, and they don't know longevity on parts, it's a big upfront cost, and the payoff was, I think it was like 13 years before it would actually pay itself back off, versus just using actual water, and and that's kind of where the city can come in, if they can, donate the water costs, or if they're gonna take it on, or,
Well, what was the usage? I mean, what is the
So
daily
in
usage?
New Ulm, it was, trying to think now, I think it was between 7,000 and 10,000 is what they were estimating it to be every year, and then.
dollars or gallons?
Dollars.
Dollars, yeah, that's what their cost, that's what the city would charge for water.
Charge for it.
If it would be an actual, like if you're
So-
using this water.
And then
But
if
we
you did the
need-
recirculating with the chemicals, it would have been just about the same amount for the chemicals.
So all I need to know is the gallons.
Gallons,
Because our rates are different and,
Right, yeah.
and then,
I have that on a spreadsheet.
do you? Awesome.
And they're able to be upgraded in the future to be able to
Right.
install the circulating system after the fact.
So what's the safe operating capacity of this facility?
The splash pad alone, I don't know if they have an actual number, but 15 is kind of what we've always like. You're actually on the actual splash
Yeah.
pad, yeah, 15 to 20 is, there's plenty of room. Splash pad's kind of different. I don't know, we went to the one in New Ulm a few times this year, and it's kind of a come and go thing. You're not like you stay there all day like a swimming pool, the kids just get in the pool and they stay for the whole, 4 or 5 hours. Splash pad's kind of a come and go kind of thing, so you don't see a lot of people that are staying for 2 or 3 hours at a time, so to speak. But with the park, that's the hope, is that they can, the 2 of them, they can make it we got some ideas for some, picnic shelters and trees, and there's a lot of other things that are coming into play and that we wanna do. We talked with Trinity about creating, like, on the north side of the property, creating, a separation for them, whether it's a row of trees or it's landscaping, whatever it be. We talked about, making that a separation for them, so it's kind of feels like the splash pad is one and the church is one. Because the one concern they did have was possible parking issues. And that's where we kind of said, well, if we kind of separate it, and that's the thing, that piece of property, there's a lot of on-street parking that's available. And that part of town, as a whole, it's pretty, people keep their speeds down, it's one of the safer parts of town that we looked at for lots. We looked at a lot of different lots, and there's just, we're fortunate, there's not a lot of options, and we do it right now, 4 open lots that would be accessible and a safe area for something like this.
Dave, questions, concerns? Comments?
I don't have any. I like where you're at right now. Keep going. That's my opinion.
Cody?
I like it, I just, I don't, do we need, like, as far as the city standpoint, do we need a public forum for it, or, how do we go about this?
Right.
To make, we can't, can we just tell them,
Well,
I guess it's really not our decision until it's.
yeah? Well, I know, but I would sure hate to.
Right.
that's,
No, I
then
mean,
that's why we don't take it.
No, we're not taking that on,
I would like that.
Even from a liability standpoint, yeah, a private entity couldn't take it on, but what if, say the city didn't wanna take it, maybe Trinity would want it, or maybe, any nonprofit would be able to take it and
I'm
provide.
not saying the city doesn't wanna take it, I have no issues with it, I just don't wanna get to the end and then we have a forum and
Get shut down.
the town people are saying no.
So we should,
Right.
what you're saying is before you guys make all the commitment, there should be some sort of
I don't know,
agreement
how
that.
do we,
Yeah,
But we
what
have to
does
be
the city have to do
careful.
to say, yes, we will take this?
And that is
But
an
right
attorney
now-
question, I'm sorry, I cannot answer that, because we're, to go into an agreement, what does that create us.
Because, I mean, at the end of the day, it is the taxpayers that are gonna be paying, I mean, not paying for it to be built, but to maintain it.
But to maintain it.
So,
Yeah, and I get where you're going with this, because at the end of the day, I hate to see all this effort done to have something beautiful
for
turn
us to
out.
sit here and say, oh,
And
yeah,
then the
we'll
city
take it
says,
on,
well, you
then-
know what, we're not gonna do it, so, yeah, we need to cross that T and dot that I.
I think it'd be pretty hard for somebody to turn down a.
I got it, and I don't think that's gonna happen.
$500,000
I don't
But how do we,
park.
how do we
I get
make
it.
sure it doesn't? What do we need to do to make sure that doesn't happen?
But
We'll
I
just
hear
all
that
shake
going
hands.
I
in.
get it, but we're not everybody else, we're 5 people sitting here.
Yeah, but we're the 5 people that represent everybody else.
Yeah,
You feel that pressure, Cody?
exactly.
That's it.
That's it, that's all you need.
All right, if that's,
You know, I don't have
I
a
don't
problem with it because the way I look at it, it's another asset the city will have for marketing the city of Madelia, and it's another place to get the kids out of the house at least for 15 or 20 minutes if that's all they spend.
Right, and one thing to think about too is this is gonna be 100% free, like there's gonna be no charge, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Right.
Doesn't matter, just like it is New Ulm or Mapleton, so it doesn't matter if your kids are at the campground, they're coming from somewhere else, it's gonna be 100% free.
Pull up and use.
Right.
And I don't know how far we don't wanna go down this rabbit hole, but I mean, the benefits of this thing is gonna be off the chain. First off, that lot's been sitting dead for as long as I can remember. The second thing is it expands our park system beyond what is now the floodplain.
Yep.
The third thing is, to Dustin's point, is it provides an opportunity for people to do something that's not gonna be charged. It's something we don't have right now.
Right, and because it's so close to a big segment of younger kids already living within walking distance, or families living within walking distance, they don't have to start a vehicle to drive there, they can.
And we did look at pretty much all sections of town, I mean, I don't know how many times Chris and I sat down and looked at the map, and we looked at, I mean, you know, north, east side's got the elementary school, I mean, we tried to kind of place it somewhat accordingly to space it out. You're never gonna have, I mean, there's gonna be somebody that's gonna be mad because it's not next to their house, so there's, you know, I mean, that's just the nature of the beast.
Well, I disagree with that slightly. So I don't believe there's gonna be somebody that's gonna be mad because it's not next to their house, but there, because of where that lot is situated, there's nobody that's gonna be mad because it is next to their house.
Right,
You know, that lot is really well located as far as not causing problems for nearby residents, because there are streets, and I think the location is well thought out.
What about from a policing side of things, Rob? I mean, it's in a well-lit area, it's traveled, I mean, a lot.
Yeah, I think it's a great location. Get the, you know, moms and dads and kids in strollers that can walk up there on, you know, quiet streets for the most part, and sidewalks on Main Street getting down there too, so I think it's in a good location.
As far as the bathrooms, like we talked about, having them lockable and when they're not in use, I know we've had some issues with that. That's the other thing too, is it pulls it out of, you know, there's a lot of people that drive by that thing 20 times a day. So hopefully people can kind of police it themselves or be able to, hey, at least say something. Or like the park, you drive down there and if the campground's not open, there's not people that are driving down there unless it's you guys, right?
Right. No, I think it'll be a nice location for something like that. Kind of puts a playground down on the west side of town too, so.
Yeah, I mean, as far as what the public, I think if the committee can pull that off and get a fundraiser that pays for $400,000 amenity, we must have enough people in town that are more for it than against it, because otherwise they wouldn't donate.
Can I propose that we do this one more time, but the next time we come here to discuss this, we'll discuss the binding agreement in regards to what's gonna happen and then the operating costs. So that the public actually knows what burden, if you guys feel it's a burden, is going to be put on the taxpayer in this town. I think at that point, I think that would be a better way for us to go forward on our decisions.
Yep. So for us going forward, I mean, we have that vote on the 23rd, right? Is that something you wanna try and squeeze in before that vote, or do we let them?
I would suggest for the
Vote
sake
on
of
it?
that vote, we wait until after that vote, so we
Agreed.
know what's gonna happen.
Agreed.
You wanna
Well,
do it?
Yeah,
Yep. Because at that point, we're kind of in talks with Trinity of, hey, once you guys decide for sure we can buy it, which we're hoping that we're going to, you know, we're gonna need some time to close. Like, we have a fundraising, we can't, because we have nothing to do. we have a lot of things loosely set in place, but until we get the land locked down, we can't even advertise, we can't do anything like that.
Well, you don't want to get sideways with the Trinity folks by
Right.
assuming something that hasn't happened yet, so let's let that happen,
Yeah.
and then we'll know.
Yeah. So once we get from there, maybe we can put it on the
All
next
right.
council meeting after that.
So what is the 23rd?
But I think it's a wonderful deal that, you know, there's people in town that wanna better their own community and give their kids something else to do.
Yeah, the response, I mean, just from people hearing it on the street has been very, very,
I've only had a couple of people that were concerned, but I think you probably took most of those concerns when you were at the church board meeting.
Our council is actually on the 24th, so your vote is on the 23rd on Sunday. We have council on the 24th, unless you want to wait to the next one, which would be the 14th of February. So you guys can all hang out and spend your Valentine's Day with us.
Liz, that really good?
As your wife is sitting right here.
I didn't know if I said that. I don't see a problem why we couldn't do it that 24th, do you? I mean, I'm sure, I don't know how this vote's gonna go, I mean, I'm sure it's gonna be either raise your hand or pass a ballot, and they're gonna count them right away, I would assume.
We'll know that day.
Yeah, so I think we just go for the 24th then.
All right,
if
so
that works.
then, on the 24th, I don't know if you wanna send me stuff
Yeah.
or
I
we work.
I have it pulled up, I just need your email.
Okay,
I'll send it to you.
and then we'll compile the operating costs, I will discuss with the attorney a binding agreement. I just am a little nervous about a binding agreement because I don't think, the city doesn't want to be part of the actual process at all. And
Well, you just have to word it that way.
I know, because we don't want to have the criteria in regards to what we have to do to build something.
Right.
If that makes,
Yep.
Yeah, we don't want
okay. You don't want all of our red tape.
Well, we want the city to be a part of it, at least, like I said, that's kind of why we're here, is to keep informed and, you know, kind of go from there.
All right, so January 24th will be the next meeting. But now is our opportunity to say anything that you guys want to bring out around the room in regards to any problems that you see
Kathy?
with this. Jim? Okay.
I'm guessing my grandkids will be about the right age to put it.
Yeah,
I think
the only thing I can say is I'm a little disappointed my kids are gonna be getting too old to use it, so.
But your grandkids will use it, Ron.
Yeah,
It's not that far away.
quiet.
I think this is an awesome opportunity for the city. I mean, this alone is huge. When I look at all the playground equipment that we currently have in the city and how outdated and ADA
Right.
compliance and everything like that. And I know when I've worked with Game Time before, all of those companies are willing to help you with everything. But I do think this is an amazing project, and I think it's a super asset to the city, so.
And I think if we can get, you know, like I said, just that, I mean, they know, like, Game Time, they talk about the compliance and all that kind of stuff. We're not trying to we're not trying to shortchange the city's side of things either. Like,
No,
we
you're
wanna
just
make-
helping us, because then,
Right.
if you do that, then that gives me a little extra time to get the other stuff up to date. That's what I'm thinking of.
Right, right.
So,
Yeah, if there's any questions along the way, feel free to reach out to any of us here. Like I said, if it's okay, I think we'll use Andy and Glenn kind of to bring back anything from the committee meetings, kind of as we go forward. So, anything else? No?
did I miss
Okay.
anything?
Thanks for taking the time and
Thank you.
look forward to working with you. And like I said, I'll get Sarah your email address and we can get that
Okay.
sent over.
Okay,
So, sounds good.
thank you.
Thanks,
Okay,
everyone.
thanks, guys.
Have a happy new year. You want these back or?
You can have them.
Oh,
I'm
I'm
keeping
gonna
this.
hang this one up, if you
Yeah.
don't mind, can I hang them up?
Yeah.
If you don't want them, give them life. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
I don't see a red tractor in there anywhere.
Don't even start with that. I already got that question.
All right, the next thing that I have is I wanna discuss the leak thing that I handed out to everybody.
Need one, Chris?
I must have, did I leave mine set over there?
Probably.
Okay.
I don't see that on the workshop agenda.
It's an added one because the league actually got back to me in regards to this today, and this is on your
So we're
agenda.
adding to the agenda? Do we approve?
We already have it on the agenda for tonight, for the agent of record for the insurance, but I want to go over this with everybody. Don't look at me like that. I wanted you to understand, the league's, perspective on the insurance agent and why we have to hire one and how we should do it, and then what we should actually expect from our insurance agent once we have hired them. In this city, every 3 years, we change the insurance companies from Mark Scarpel to Paul Sheldon. So now we will be going into Paul Sheldon, it's 3 years. And, I guess I just want all of the council to understand expectations in regards to what is expected of an insurance agent, and so that's why I'm going through this. The other thing too is that every time that we switch, we should be doing a resolution, which is also actually hooked onto the back page of it. And in the resolution, it actually states that you can actually set your compensation for your insurance agent. Currently, it's 10% of the property, and that's always been the standard, it's always been 10%, and then 2% of the workers' comp. But as I've been going through it, you don't technically have to have an insurance agent for workers' comp, but you can also change your 10% and your 2%. But a lot of times when they change the 10 and the 2, they're doing an RFP. They're asking for insurance agents to actually submit a proposal to the city in regards to the fee that they would be charging.
So if we don't change insurance companies tonight, does that mean the agent of record stays the agent of record, or does it automatically default because of past decisions the council made?
No, we physically have to go in and actually change everything. So I have to then contact the league along with the insurance agent and change everything for them to have the new insurance agent.
But if we opted to do nothing tonight, then it wouldn't, nothing,
it
we'd
would-
still have insurance the first of the year.
Yeah, but we'd still have Mark Scarpel.
Okay.
The reason I'm bringing up this is I want the council to understand the expectations that for service. So, that's what I really wanted to point out, and that was the key points, obviously, that are listed, agent services in the League of Minnesota Cities, what they are actually supposed to be doing.
Do you have to be an insurance agent registered with the League of Cities to apply to be the insurance agent for the city? I guess my real question is, you said there are 2 people that are doing it, and we switch every 3 years.
Because they are the 2 insurance agents in town, right? Isn't that what, and Jim, you
They're-
might be able to help. I'm not actually sure when this actually took place. I can't find any documents in regards to why this always switches back and forth every 3 years.
I think the Sheldons brought it up as an issue.
Years ago.
Yeah, I think 20 years. Just,
And because of the type of the insurance, American Family
can't insurers.
can insure us, and the other agency right across the street, I can't think of the
Ideally,
name.
like Crystal.
They're not actually selling insurance out of the office,
They're the company, right?
they're the company office, and they have their claims adjusters there.
I believe that's right.
So the people in town that could bid on this are both considered, and there's nobody else out there.
Technically, you don't have to go with somebody in town, but,
I got that.
As of, unless, the only other one that might be eligible now was she in business, in the old clinic 3 years ago? Progressive or,
Deb?
who?
Is it Deb Cerny?
No, down in the old clinic building. Aren't they still selling insurance?
That's Scarpa.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, that's Scarpo?
Yeah.
Oh,
Who's in the building halfway down the street then?
That's Sheldon.
That's,
Sheldon, so it's,
so that is the only two then.
I just want you guys educated
On what?
on understanding insurance, on understanding that this insurance thing, you have options, like, and I can't find any documentation that states that it needs to be every 3 years, and I also want you to understand that you can change the commission price too on here, where I don't think anybody understood that either. The other thing is you don't have to hire an agent for workers' comp either. So that's 2% that you would be saving. I mean, the city can handle all the workers' comp issues. Cause a lot of times
So how did we,
I.
so how did we get here? How did we get to what we have
nobody
today?
knows.
Nobody knows.
Most positive the Sheldons came in.
Well, no,
Is
not
there
just
an
that, not just
issue
that
with
piece of it, because I'm comfortable with
something
that
right
part.
now, or?
My concern is,
Is
why
that
do we
why
have the
this is
2%
being
for
brought
workers'
up?
I
comp if
want
we
you
don't
to
have
be
to?
educated
Well,
on the
because
educations
I was gonna told
that are
that,
required in
Didn't know,
the
didn't.
service.
didn't know.
You know how many times I have to emphasize myself.
So then why?
So my question is, why wouldn't we just release it for request for proposal and see what comes back?
And that's what I'm saying, it's, I need you guys to understand your options.
I mean, are we locked in if we send it out request for proposal and something comes back and they can propose the number of years they wanna be the insurance
We
provider?
actually, I,
Right,
that's the other thing. The 3 years is really hard, and maybe it's been really hard since, like, we've gone through some major things in the city, so when the shop burned down and we had other issues or whatever, and then all of a sudden, Dad, I'm in the middle of, figuring out how to rebuild the shop, and now my insurance agent has to change, and I gotta deal with this, and they have no idea about the list that I've gotten to go through all the items, and that's the other thing that I do not like, is changing that often, because I think that you guys lose a lot of knowledge and everything. I mean, now Mark has gone through all of the assessments with me in regards to going to each individual property. Now I bring in Paul or whatever, and he probably doesn't know half of the items that we even own. That's where I'm worried that the city is losing the knowledge by changing that often. That's my
So bottom line,
concern.
you gotta figure out this 3-year thing, or find something.
But there is
Cause if we
nothing,
don't
I
have to
can't
have
find
it, then we don't have
anything.
to change at this point.
But Paul has submitted a letter in regards to changing.
Paul.
So, Paul Sheldon,
Sheldon,
because it's the 3 years, and so tonight it is on the agenda to change the record of agent.
Yeah.
But I am stressing what I have been through and why I want you guys to be fully aware of what you guys can do. So,
My first question is, why 3 years? My second question is, if we don't have to do the 2% for workers' comp, then why are we doing it?
Well, Jim, what were you gonna say?
Well, sorry, it's none of my business, but it's your meeting. But doesn't the agent give you a list of what you have insured when you're saying, he doesn't know half of what we have insured?
that's the
Doesn't
assessments.
Mark give you that?
Yeah, Mark walks through everything
So
with
why
me.
wouldn't you just go out for bids every couple of years like every normal business?
I don't know.
I don't know why we didn't do
I
that
don't
20
know,
years ago.
that's why I want something in black and white stating this is our policy and our procedure.
I think it just got carried forward, nobody caught it because,
We had to change, command a few times in a row.
In my 12 years, it's been one of them, every 3 years, it's like, put it out, oh, we're gonna switch, okay, yep, aye, dog.
could part of it, and I don't wanna get in trouble for the statements, I hope, is this on live?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be recorded and posted.
I'm just saying, going
Yeah, I don't wanna get in
through,
trouble with what I'm about to say.
going through a lot of
Just
them.
more that to it than we thought.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to, and that's why I'm trying to point out, there's a lot of expectations, but when you are in mid claims, and like building the street shop again, I mean, those lists were just horrendous. And going back and forth with the league, and I got to thinking, I'm lost here, I don't have anybody holding my hand, and then somebody did come and hold my hand, and I really do like that service, and I don't wanna lose it, so. That's what I'm trying to say. So,
I guess if there's nothing in writing that says it has to happen every 3 years, and I'm pretty sure, was there not 3 or 4 insurance providers
at one time,
6-7 years ago? I mean,
Well, it might have been Delgrand was here still.
yeah, there was,
Might
I
have
mean,
been.
I know even down at Medallion Light and Power, there was always multiple, and I think they switch it every 5 years or whatever. Similar, but I mean, nothing says that it can't go out for bid, request for proposal, and at least see what comes back. And nothing says that it has to be, I mean, sure, it would be great to have somebody in town, but
yeah,
if,
we should have an agent, but for property and casualty, but not so much, you don't have to do it for workers' comp, but,
but I guess I'm not necessarily gonna give a preference if citizens out of LaSalle wants to bid on it, or if somebody local that's gonna be within, you know, or lives in town that doesn't necessarily work here, that's an agent wants to bid on it, I guess I wouldn't have a problem with that either necessarily. I mean, I don't know what's the actual money, what's it amount to? I mean, is it,
not very much, honestly. If you take 2% of the workers' comp is like $800. But you take 10% of your casualty, that's a different story.
How much is that?
So your casualty, 80-some thousand,
it's about $8,000?
So $8,000.
Well, he did put in a proposal for tonight and we can deny his proposal and add an additional agenda for a request for proposal if the council would like to do that.
yeah.
This was to start takeover when?
January 1st.
January 1.
But it's okay.
Will still be insured.
It's okay, I'm doing all the work. I'm upstairs submitting all the renewals right now, because Mark's already been in and helped me through everything, and so I got everything under control. I just wanna make sure we're doing the right thing for the community. That's what I'm trying to express right now. Is it the right thing to switch every 3 years?
Well, do you want a longer term on
I
the
would
request
like-
for proposal?
I would like at least 5 years for sure, because I think that gives you the knowledge. You go through an assessment, you go through everything, you understand what you're dealing with. But that's up to you guys.
So, if this has to be done by resolution, was there an original resolution that it'll be revised every 3 years?
No, I went back and I looked, there was no other resolutions that were ever done. It was just done by a motion on the agenda.
That's all we've ever
So
done,
do it-
isn't it,
yeah.
Dave?
So,
Raise our hand and
Yeah,
end of the year things.
yeah.
yep.
So when I called up the league today to discuss it, then yeah, they had the resolution and everything for the change of agent.
Well, did you have any guidance from the league as far as how everybody else does it? It's all over the board, just whatever works for whoever's doing it, or what?
Yeah, because you need to understand your community and understand how it works. I mean, we could go out for a request for proposal, or we could do it every 3 years if that's what you guys choose, or every 5 years. But whatever we decide to do, I just want it in black and white. Because if I fall off the face of the earth, what's to say that the next person sitting right here won't be saying the same things I am? That's all.
I think so. Do you wanna put it into an actual policy, or what do you wanna do?
Like an actual written procedure that we follow. This is what we've all decided that is the right thing for the community.
So are you able to write that yourself, or does that have to be something that
I would go through the attorney in regards to, I would
Go
draft
through the
something and
attorney.
have him, redline it.
Who's gonna do your work, Ms. Khan?
I would.
You wanna take that out completely?
I've been doing it. That's what I'm trying to make you guys understand. I don't mind, the workers' comp is fine. We submit claims or whatever, and so I call up the underwriter, I go back and forth with them, they give me what I'm supposed to do. Workers' comp is pretty straightforward, and it actually is maybe better because it's more confidential, that it's just me and the underwriter, versus on the property and casualty, there is an employee though unless they crash something, but that's different. But that's a little different. You know, workers' comp is a little bit more personal or more confidential.
So would you like to just table it for now until, or do you want an actual request for proposal to be advertised next, probably need so February,
Mhm.
for the second meeting in January, I think you come up with a new policy with a new term and we'll
So
advertise.
this is for the new one,
But all,
the switch over?
Mhm.
just to be clear, all
That
the,
or we can go into switching over to Paul, but let's just say we do it for a year just to get us through so we can figure it out. I'm just saying, I need you guys educated.
Well, why would you switch? I mean, if we're
Well, I
gonna
would
switch
switch
for a year, I wouldn't even switch from work.
but just so we're all clear, the actual insurance is carried through the league.
Yes, that is correct.
So all the rates are set, there's no,
Yep,
it's just this percentage for being the agent.
that's pretty much it. But that agent though is supposed to help me.
Fill out all the claims.
Right.
Help me, come and help me through everything.
Right.
Make me understand, I'm not an insurance agent.
So we don't believe that the switch over that'll happen anymore, or what?
So,
That somebody won't come and help on this?
They will,
Well,
but
Just
what I'm,
comfortable with the person we've had, because we've had for 3 years, and
The
now.
agent gets paid that $8,000
But you
bucks a
sure
year
worked,
for.
did you didn't work with the other
aviation
one, did you?
direct.
I've worked with all of them.
Both of them.
Oh, no.
or 8.
But what I'm
Eight.
trying to say,
Oh, 8,000.
3 years,
10%
a
of
lot
the
has
100.
happened. You know, you had your shop burned down, you had
I
all
know,
these
but we're
different
past
things.
that now.
But that's what I'm saying, if
Oh, no, that'd
you
be
do the 3
1%,
years, I
yeah,
think you
80.
should go longer,
No, it's
so
not
these
that much.
agents get
What-
more of
what-
knowledge.
What does the agent, what's 10%?
10% of your actual coverage?
8 grand a
10%
year.
of-
Is it 8 or 80?
Well,
I think
Eight.
it has to be 80.
It's 8, it's 10% of the 80 grand.
I thought that
the
was
trust
workers' comp
practice
was
is
800.
to include an allowance for a 10% agent's fee in the premium for property and casualty
And what's that come
coverage.
out to a year?
And that's what I just said, 80,000.
You're-
Oh, yeah, acre.
So that, when I get a bill for 80,000, it has the 10% in there.
Oh.
That's what it says in the sheets here.
And that insurance agent is supposed to send that paperwork through because that's his job. After you give him what's broken or abused or
What?
whatever the claim is.
That's what we're going
That's
Yeah.
what they're paying, yeah.
Yes.
That's what's really,
Yes.
yes.
Why don't we get? Okay.
Because it's the
I thought it was
system
weird.
that,
It's been in place.
that the League of Cities set up.
It's a larger amount than that. Like what we're paying him?
Is 8,000?
That's what I'm saying, you can determine whatever fee you do pay him. The 10% is the, like.
No, this whole conversation, I thought we were.
We've
talking
spent the
some-
last how many minutes talking about $8,000?
No, I
It's pretty petty,
yeah.
I'll just be honest
It's
with
not,
you.
it's not petty at all.
It's not. I'm totally with you. Doing this every 3 years is crazy. I've never
Yeah.
been a part of a contract that was only 3 years, it was always 5, because that gives you periodicity.
That's why I'm saying.
Yes.
I don't,
If we want, let's fix this.
yeah.
Let's fix it.
That's
So
all
I would
I'm
say we don't
asking.
roll over, and if I understand what you're saying, let's table this for now. We will continue with where we are for now, my suggestion. If we have to do an RFP, we can do an
Right.
RFP, but then going forward, we do it every 5 years, or whatever timeline we think is more appropriate. I would argue 5 is about right. Any more than that, you start to get a little bit too
Mhm.
comfortable.
There you go, that better word, but yeah, this.
But
to me-
even after the 5, I wouldn't want it to necessarily be just automatically turned
No,
over.
no, exactly.
I
agree
think
with
it has
that.
to be request for proposal.
Yep.
or
Request for
request-
proposal, so we get the
Any
best
other contract-
market,
Completely agree.
person out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that would be an additional agenda item to,
Well, right now, I
Right
have it
now,
on
I'm gonna tell
the,
you right now, I'm not gonna vote for it. I'm gonna vote for the 3-year term rate, starting just like we've done for the last 3. If we wanna change it after that 3rd, that's where I'm at. That's the only thing I'm saying. There's never been any issues with the 3 years, as far as I'm concerned.
The only
This is a real secondary thing for these, it's not, might even, it might be 5th thing on the list for all of these insurance people.
We might not get any RFPs, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just stating where I'm at. That's why there's 5 of us.
The only thing is, you go 3 years, then who knows who's here and who's gonna bring it back up.
That's, I can't see in the future, and that's how the coins fall, man.
I respect that, I disagree.
That's what we're here to do.
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
But
so
that's why
what's,
there's 5 of us, you know?
Yeah, good point.
well, it's on the
I just
agenda.
don't, I just think that this should have been a little earlier than where we're at
Then,
today.
then
That's fine.
I mean, this
December,
person thinks that January 1, they're taking over as of right now.
and
Am I
that's,
wrong on that?
but that's what I'm saying, I need you to be educated. If we go through the next 3 years with that person, I do want to stress this.
Oh, I think you bring up a good point. So does somebody think they're getting business come 1 January because of something this council's done previously?
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's what I'm trying
And
to
this is, we would know
educate
this.
you guys on, that there is no
but,
written
That's the only
agreement
reason I'm saying no one.
that
That's the only
states
reason.
that.
I get that.
Because I
didn't
went
catch
through that, we
My bad, I
redid
get it.
things every year because somebody was doing something every single year, and then
I
we
can't
know how
disagree
many
with Dave.
meetings we went through.
I can't
because of
disagree
that
with what Dave's
change.
saying.
What was that? Sorry, what?
I
It's the
missed
same thing we're doing there.
Right, we've
That's
done
the
it
same thing
for,
we're doing right there.
we did it back when Jim was the
And then
mayor.
we went and said, we're gonna do request for proposals, and see who's gonna advertise the blah, blah, blah. And where the heck has that gotten us?
I don't.
I got a lot of gray hairs over there.
Further down the road than we were prior with that situation.
No, I understand, but where we're at now is way different than what we
I
went through
took
the
a lot
first
of
6
heat for
meetings.
that one. and
Yeah,
I'll
we
take
all
more
did.
heat
I
for
did
this
too.
one.
I did too.
I'm saying that whatever I feel, you guys gotta look at the community. Is this the right way of doing it?
Okay, so, if there
That's
is
all I'm
somebody in
saying.
this community that thinks they're getting business come 1 January because of a decision this council previously made, we have to execute that decision.
It wasn't this council though, it was a council 25 years ago.
And I can't.
But we haven't reversed it.
But when are you
No,
going to?
and I have
Yeah.
voted
Right,
for
right,
it.
right,
I have
right.
voted for the 3-year
Fair point.
change
I do not agree with the
3
years.
times.
I don't agree with that, and I think we need to go to 5 years. I do, but
but they're only, they're not losing, what are they losing, 2 months?
2
If we
months
went
ago.
out, if we put it out for RFP,
Right, 'cause I wanna change that, I'd wanna change that process too.
you're talking
Right
2
now,
months
it's
maybe,
either
right?
or.
And
It's
February.
either the one in town or
Or
the
the
other,
other.
and
They're
it switches
losing
every
on
2
2 months.
years. I'd much rather go out for RFP
I completely agree with that.
every 5 years.
Every 5 years, we do a full RFP, totally on board with that. The part I'm getting is what he just raised, and I didn't catch this, so it's bad on me. But the fact is, somebody thinks they have a contract come 1 January. That's a problem. I mean, we've made an agreement, and what, and-
Verbally,
we-
Verbal.
well,
But what are we out? They're out 2 months. If we can put it out for RFP, they can still do everything. They're only out, we could be finished by the end of February and they're out 2 months.
We gained 2 years.
And gain 2 years, yeah.
or
But good
we
point.
go forward with what was executed. Okay, I see.
And then we're switching
Yep.
3 years again.
Roll the dice. You got me on board.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I do,
they're
I
only
do, I
missing
do.
out on 2 months.
Well, you understand my concern on that.
I do, I understand.
Cause I've been
But
through
they
this
could
whole
gain
last
2
week
years
before
on it,
January
so-
1, and we're just gonna change, and it, hopefully isn't the same.
We shouldn't be having this conversation tonight, this should have happened a few months ago. It is what it
Yeah,
is.
Chris dropped the ball.
It is
I
what it
know.
No, she didn't,
Oh,
no,
it's
you
my
did not, no, no.
Wow.
So if
No,
we,
no.
that's why I'm saying, if you proceed to do this, then in the next 3 years, we will change the process and this is what's going to happen.
Well, I mean, we could give it to them with the caveat that it's gonna change next year, I don't care, but at some point it should change to 5 years, I think we can all kinda agree on that, and it should go out request for proposal.
To me, the most above board thing to do is to let this execute the way it's supposed to. My fear is though, if we do this in 3 years,
We're
whoever's sitting in these
January
seats are
25th,
gonna be having the
6th.
same food fight because we didn't fix the process.
Yeah.
So if there's a way to find the middle ground on that, what I would suggest is we roll it. So we execute on 1 January the way we had planned to, so whoever was taking over 1 January does that. But we inform them it's only for a year because we're going to fix this process.
I don't like that. Cause then you're switching after a year again. Just
But then you'd
possibly
be set
somebody
up
else.
for 5.
Right,
But it's
But-
given us a year
but we
to
are
put
putting,
process
but then we
together.
put in, we formalize and institutionalize how this is going to be going forward, so we don't have this problem again.
But the other thing is, you know, we're gonna get to a point where there's one or no insurance agents in town, maybe, or maybe there's 6.
Well, see, but I
So
agree
it's
with your
gotta
point.
go, it's gotta be,
It's gotta be an RFP, so we
Open to
make
the
that process,
public,
yeah,
yeah.
writ large, if somebody from LaSalle, Lake Crystal does this, yeah. I just think, Dave's got me on this one, I just think to change this now, for somebody who thinks they're gonna be doing something on the 1st of January, is not a good idea. I don't agree with that.
That's fine.
And I do think we do have to institutionalize the process, so Cody, if you're not good with a year, what, do we roll the whole full 3? My fear with that is, it would be.
Well, no, yeah, I know, that's what I'm saying.
So I would say that we go with this, and I understand your point, but that it gives us a year to institutionalize the process, to do the RFP process properly, and then going forward, we make it so that it's a 5-year thing. That would be my suggestion.
yeah, I don't have a problem with
I can live with that.
Cody?
1 out of 5.
Oh my God.
I knew
We
it.
can
You
agree,
two sit next to each other.
We can agree and disagree, can we not?
Well, we did. No, I haven't.
Okay, so what else did we have on the workshop? Anything?
That's it. That's all I have.
You don't have any more grenades to pull pins on? or
No,
anything?
sorry. Just wanted to educate
You have
you guys
8
tonight.
minutes to decompress, okay, Glenn?
Okay, so then I'd entertain a motion to close the workshop.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried.